So one thing I get asked all the time is, Tom, what do you look for in a drop shipping item to be listed? So be sure to smash the like button, because in this video I'm gonna show you exactly what I look for in an item before I list it, or what I have my virtual assistants looking for before they list it. There's a certain specific amount of things that I'm looking for in an item that makes it viable to be listed on the dropshipping store. And that's not just how many times a month it's sold. There's other things that come into play, and I'm gonna show you exactly what they are in this video. So if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe, smash the like button, hit the little bell notification to be notified every single time that I launch a video like this. Also, if you are new here, I am talking about Facebook Marketplace in this video, and be sure to check down below for the free Facebook Marketplace PDF on 5 reasons to get started this year. And there's also Facebook Marketplace 2.0 that we just launched recently if you are interested in it. So I'm gonna go into my computer, show you some examples of some items and exactly what I'm looking for in an item and what I'm not looking for in an item, what I would avoid in a dropshipping item, so I don't, have things come back later on that could affect me. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video. I'll see you inside my computer. All right, so here we are inside my computer, and let's talk about what I look for in a dropshipping item, or more specifically, what I try to avoid in a dropshipping item. The number one thing about dropshipping is, yes, you can make a ton of sales. You can list as many items up. You can make as many sales as you want. Honestly, first, you need to have the capital to cover it, specifically with Facebook Marketplace dropshipping. But secondly, you need to make sure those items are good in order to mitigate any issues further down the road. As you get more experience in this, and I know from doing this myself that when you first get started, you want to list as many items up, make as much money as you possibly can. And in doing so, you probably end up making mistakes. And in making those mistakes, you have to deal with the consequences, which is upset customers, bunch of returns, cancellations, chargebacks, and negative feedback. You want to avoid that as much as possible. Me, nowadays, I try to take a more proactive approach to something like this, and I try to make sure to list only quality items so that people do not get upset. And you'll see older stores, if you're looking or sniping people on eBay or anything like that, that have been around dropshipping, even just Walmart items on eBay for 4 or 5 years, and they have very few items. They have very good items, and those items have sold a ton of times. And that's kind of the type of store that you want to be working towards, instead of just the one that spams up a bunch of items, doesn't really put as much work into the listings, doesn't really describe their listings as well, gets returns, gets, bad feedback and stuff like that. So the number one thing you can do right off the bat, and we're going to use Walmart as an example, just say on Facebook Marketplace, is really just look for items that have, or whatever supplier you're on, as long as it's a retail supplier, that have a lot of reviews. Like an item that has 2,600 almost reviews compared to one that has 8, and this has 4 stars and this only has 3.5. This is clearly a much better item than this. I don't know what's wrong with this chair, but if you read the, even though this does say in-store purchase only, so you wouldn't even be using this item, but you could read the comments or the reviews and see what people say, but there's clearly something wrong with that item. So you want to make sure that that's the number one thing you're looking at. How many reviews does it have? 780 and 4 stars, that's good. But what's better is 873 and 4.5 stars, or 1,400 and 4.5 stars almost. Those are the types of items you want to be looking for. Specifically, also, like, the amount of reviews is going to go with its popularity as well. If it doesn't have that many reviews, it's probably not that popular of an item. If you go based off of how many reviews it has, the higher the better, and the stars, the higher the better, you're not only going to hit popularity and, higher volume of sales that you'll hopefully get, but also just higher quality. So if you stick to those 2 metrics, you will most likely be in a great place getting started right off the bat. I try to tend to look for things that have over 100 reviews on Walmart, just because Walmart has so many people buying from it, and anything above 3.5 stars, but clearly the higher the better, and it's really up to you from there. Another thing you want to look for specifically on Walmart, but other websites as well, is if it's shipped and sold by Walmart. So if I open up this item, you want to make sure that it says shipped and sold by Walmart. This one does not. It's DL Commerce USA. That means you need to follow their policies as opposed to Walmart's policies, where you might not be covered completely on other things. So this says shipped and sold by Walmart. This is one that you want. Also, this one says $40 shipping. I don't know why. Maybe it was sold by Walmart at some point in time, because I feel like it said free shipping. I don't know. I try to sell only shipped and sold by Walmart items, or shipped and sold by Amazon, or shipped from Amazon, something that's going Prime, because if you do that, then you don't have to deal with their return policies or their other policies, and they're most likely not going to be as lenient as the actual, retail supplier that you're using. So that's pretty much it for finding a popular item. One that has a lot of reviews, one that has good star ratings, and you should be good. But what are we looking for on top of that? You know, if it has more variations, then it has a higher chance of selling. That's a given, because you can give somebody more chances of buying the item. Say they don't like the dove gray, but they like the berry red, then, you know, they're gonna buy it. And it's all on the same listing. Even on Facebook Marketplace now, there's room for variations. Well, let's talk about things not to sell, or what I personally try to avoid selling. Anything glass, anything like a picture frame, or anything made out of glass, or a glass tabletop, or anything, I'm not selling it. Has a higher likelihood of breaking in the mail. Even if they have good reviews, I don't care. I'm not selling it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with anybody saying it broke, because you're literally selling something that has a very high likelihood of breaking. There's just really no point in trying to sell something. Even picture frames, they're pretty cheap to begin with. So, you know, you're not gonna make the biggest profits on it. But I personally don't like selling anything glass. I know other people sell these picture frames and they sell the hell out of them. But me personally, I don't wanna deal with it. I don't wanna deal with anything that happens with the shipping and any mistakes that way. That same thing goes with like ceramic type kitchenware, plates, bowls, anything that's glass or ceramic or anything like that. Again, I know people sell these. I've sold these in the past. They sell well. But where I'm at personally right now, I do not want to be selling anything that has breakability, anything that could show up damaged upon arrival. I try to make sure that the items are as good as possible, you know, usually higher priced, usually higher end, great reviews, a lot of reviews. And then at that point in time, you really set yourself up to be selling the best of the best. And if they're higher priced, then you're most likely going to be making more profit per sale anyways, where you don't have to deal with, you know, $21 items that you could maybe sell for $40 or something like that. Specifically now, because Walmart likes to send a lot of items through DoorDash and other things like that. It doesn't even make sense to me, but they're doing it. They're sending it without a tracking number through these like food delivery services in order to give them more business, in order to get them the item quicker. But they don't have tracking. That's another big issue. So anything with free shipping is usually better. So look for free shipping if you can, or whatever your supplier's policy on free shipping is. That's that for glass things, breakable things, anything that's also an electronic. Electronics, not only do they break, they have a high rate of fraud. People will buy them. I mean, printers are kind of an exception, but you know, TVs. First off, Walmart, you will cancel a lot of electronic items if you're drop shipping them, specifically Walmart. You know, electronics like TVs, monitors, little laptops, tablets, they're called, tablets, and vacuum cleaners. I have no idea why, but there's a high likelihood that they'll cancel it just for fraud anyways, but there's also a high likelihood that somebody's gonna get it, say, oh, it never showed up, and then just charge you back on it or something. Electronics have high rates of fraud. I know people that have sold TVs to people, and then the person returns it and they return it back with a different TV in the box, or just nothing in the box and things like that. And it's just not worthwhile dealing with. And, you know, over time, I've realized that, you know, specific items are problem items, and electronics in general usually are. Some platforms have different policies on selling them anyways, to the point where I just avoid them altogether. And then lastly, I have right here is just big items in general. You can have something that's a big item, but anything that's going freight. I've dealt with freight in the past, and yes, you'll get a competitive advantage if you do want to deal with freight. But if you're a beginner and you're watching this video, I do not suggest dealing with freight items at all. It's a huge pain. It's a pain to even get freight delivered to yourself, let alone getting freight delivered to somebody else from Walmart, but you're paying for it. It's usually the freight company is calling you, trying to set up the time, and then you have to either call that person and set up the time for delivery, or have them call your customer. It's a huge pain. The freight companies are usually confused. They're like, oh, I have your Walmart item here. When do you want me to deliver it? I'm like, oh, well, I'm not the person you're delivering it to. You're delivering it to somebody else. I paid for it though, so you have to call them. They get real confused. They have no idea why it's happening or what's happening. Even though it's shipped and sold by Walmart, it does usually cost more for freight, but even if it's free freight shipping, you just don't want to deal with it, especially if you're a beginner. I personally try not to deal with it. Some items that I ship through other suppliers end up going freight without me really knowing it, and that does lead to issues. One thing where also, you know, if you're not checking up on your items or how often they sell or anything like that, or when they ship, and you're not tracking them through the shipment process, you'll realize, oh, this item sold 3 weeks ago. The person's asking where it is, and you know, the freight company's been trying to contact them for the last 3 weeks, but they haven't answered. So it's just all these things you want to avoid. Anything with drop shipping, like I've said. Also, you want to stick with seasonal items as well. They help. don't, 100% base your store off seasonal items, but it's coming up on the summer now. Outdoorsy stuff, pool type things, anything for just outdoor swimming, any camping, hiking, sports, anything like that. It's going to sell better in the summer. Let's be honest. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. So you really want to, the moral of the story here is avoid any issues before they happen. When the issues arise, deal with them, but try to mitigate as the issues arise too. You're going to realize that there might be a common theme to your issues. Like, oh, this item's a problem item, or, oh, this, the freight shipping is an issue. When the item's a problem item, even if it's selling well, like, don't get connected to it. Get rid of the item. It's not worth keeping on to or holding on to. It's really not worth it. It might feel like it's worth it, but in the long run, it's not going to be, especially if you don't have VAs helping you out. But that's that. Avoid any issues before they happen, and you'll have a much happier dropshipping life and career. I can guarantee you that. So hopefully this video is helpful. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them down below. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification for any time you want to see a video like this. You'll get notified. And also there's a free PDF down below on Facebook Marketplace Dropshipping, why you should get started in 2021. So hopefully you got something out of this video. It's a little bit different than what I usually do, but I think it's something that is needed to be said. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.